You can hear me.
This meeting is being recorded.
We can hear you.
Morning.
Hello.
What do we got here? Let me do. You've been to Chelsea. Maybe while I talk to myself. Do
Good
that.
answers that way.
You ready to go? We'll give it a
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah. I mean, we're ready. Happy Monday.
Monday. Let's get after it.
So, the topic of today's conversation is a continuation of what we were talking about last week, which is kind of the spiderweb effect, meaning we introduce the concept or kind of reinforce the concept of beacon versus spotlight. And we can apply that thought process to marketing and just the way you show up. But when we're thinking about being a beacon, what we're doing is we're putting out your energy, your availability. You're signaling to the world that I am available and uniquely qualified to help people solve problems about real estate. That's what you're doing. And so in doing so, there's some actual tactical activities that you can do on a daily basis to make sure that you're the beacon or the spider web. But either way, that your influence is covering the people that you know that are in your world. So I wanted to share with you a strategy of what you can start to do. It's not a new concept. You probably have heard of it before. I found it to be very helpful. So I wanted to talk about that. Before we get into it, though, if any of you have been on these calls, we've talked about calendaring, we've talked about structured lead generation. I'm curious to know if anyone's tried to implement any of the strategies that we've talked about so far. So if you wouldn't mind unmuting and let me know, any more attention to your calendar, any more attention to planning agendas with yourself for lead generation? I'm curious to hear from you.
I'll just say that this has been really good in terms of a jump off to like for the rest of the discussions that we have. It's been a good, kind of guide to reinforce the principles. So I hope that, many of you are taking something from each of these sessions and running with it for the week, coming back on here the rest of the week to refine and figure it out, so to speak.
Yeah,
I feel
absolutely.
I feel like you helped me last week with I have them in my calendar already, but it's just whether it's to stay true or not. But I did the Sunday scaries, planning for the week, right? And then I do my Friday evaluation. So then on Friday, I'll go through my week. Okay, what did I do? Who did I contact? Who needs to get contact? What's the plan? So
Yeah, that's really great. I'm glad that you're able to do that. And I do believe that getting some of that Sunday scary energy out in planning your week so you know what's next. Sunday scaries isn't an indicator that anything's wrong. It just means that your brain is acting as a container versus a processor, and you're asking it to contain all of the things for the week, and that causes anxiety. So the easy fix for that is get it out of your head. So really great.
so proactive, not reactive is what I need to.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. Well, hey, Sam, thanks for sharing. And so for today, I wanted to introduce a principle or what you can do this week as the DTD2. If you're not familiar, DTD2 is do the database too. And what that is every single week, there's 2 letters of the alphabet plus 1 additional to text. So each week you're going to have 3 letters that you're going to pull up in your CRM that week's letters, and that's going to be who you're going to call. Now that could be whoever's in your database. Could be a past client, could be a lead, could be a professional contact. And your goal is to avoid call bias, meaning if it's A&W this week and you're calling Mr. Adams, regardless of the strength of your relationship, you're not going to lean into your bias against calling him. You're going to call him and you're going to have a conversation with him. If you're anything like me, the one thing that holds me back is not the schedule or the structure, because we've accounted for creating the space in your time block. We've talked about the structure of who you're going to call and why. If you can do the 2 every single quarter, you're going to hit everyone in your database. Now it's well, what am I going to say? So we're going to clear that bottleneck so that you know what to say and can feel confident in doing so. And in doing this method, you're the beacon. You're building your spider web. So I want to introduce to you the contractor conversation. Again, this is not my concept. I was taught this, so hopefully it can be a help to you. So is anybody not familiar with DTD2? Okay, good. We're all speaking the same language. So the conversation that I find did not help me personally. If you know me, you know that I'm probably not a small talk kind of gal. So for me, a forward conversation of how's the family, how's the job, how's your recreation, how's pickleball, what's your hopes and dreams. It's a great framework for a conversation. It just wasn't me. And because it wasn't me, I avoided it like the plague. So for me, I found a reason-based conversation more suitable for my personality. Here's what it sounds like. Jason, you want to be my role play partner?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I'm going to call Jason. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Jason, it's Chelse Moffatt calling with Keller Williams. Hey, I know it's been quite some time and you weren't expecting my call. You got 5 minutes?
Yeah. Go ahead, Chelsea. What's up?
Great. Well, hey, Jason, I was giving you a call because and again, I know it's been a little while since our last conversation. I trust things are going well. If not, let me know. But I'm calling because I really trust your opinion, and I wanted to bounce something off of you. I'm building my contractors list for my clients, and it really is just a list of vetted professionals that I feel comfortable putting my name behind. But there's a couple of vacancies that I have on the list, and so I wanted to call and say, who was the last contractor? Could it even been a CPA, a babysitter, a carpenter, any service provider that you've used recently that you thought was fantastic?
You know, we just had our deck power washed, and the company was pretty good. The guy was pretty nice, local company. Forget the guy's name, but I can get it for my wife and send it over to you if that works.
That would be really helpful. And then I'll give them a shout, introduce myself, and make sure that I close the communication loop of bringing your contractor into my world. So thank you for that. And Jason, is there anything that you guys have coming up? Any home improvement projects or anything that you need a strong recommendation for in your world?
Well, Chelsea, I certainly hope not. Thanks for asking.
Okay, sounds good. Because I'm having these conversations with some of my trusted past clients and friends and family, I bet I'm going to have the best contractors list in town. So when this is done, I'll send it over. And if there's ever anything that you need, let me know. I find that a lot of my clients find it helpful to find the value of their house before they do a home improvement project to make sure they don't accidentally over improve their house. So next time you and your wife find yourself there, make me your first call. Sound good?
Yeah, no, it's a great idea. I definitely will. That's good stuff. I appreciate you reaching out.
All right, Jason, thank you so much for your time. You have a good one.
All right, you too.
So here's the conversation. I'm building a contractors list. I'm calling the people that I trust in my world to see who they've used recently that they would recommend. And might I call and introduce myself? Then I ask them, is there anyone that you're looking for that I should be on the lookout for? And they're going to say yes or no. If they say no, you're going to tell them, hey, my bet is by the end of my time invested, I'm going to have one of the best contractors lists in the city. And that's not just for you, that's for you and your friends and family. Next time you need somebody, make me your first call. Can you do that? Yeah. Or they might say, so funny you asked. Me and my husband are getting ready to do a bathroom renovation. Oh, wow, that's so exciting. Yeah, it is. Cool. And then we're going to have some chitty chat about that. And then I always offer, what I find helpful, what my clients have found helpful that have planned a renovation like this is to know the current value of their home. By knowing their value of their home and their neighborhood, that's going to help them from accidentally over improving their house. You're planting a little bit of I hadn't considered that. Okay, it's kind of a curiosity gap. Would you mind if I just ran the numbers on your house and sent it over to you? Or would you be bothered if I ran the numbers on your house and showed you what it's worth today so that you can help plan? Is this a $20,000 bathroom remodel or is this a $50,000 bathroom remodel? And I ask them in that way of, would you mind, or it's part of the Phil Jones variety of, would you be offended if, like, obviously they wouldn't be offended, but you want to elicit a, no, of course I wouldn't be offended, or no, of course I wouldn't mind. And then you're going to spend 20 minutes on creating a CMA for them and saying, hey, I'd love to review this with you. I can email it over, but sometimes it's helpful just to hop on a quick Zoom and I'll explain to you what I'm seeing and compare it to what you thought. But then the last question is in planning your bathroom remodel budget, it's also helpful to know how long do you want to be there. A $50,000 bathroom remodel makes a lot more sense when you know you're going to be there long term. So I can use that as part of my analysis to protect you from accidentally overspending. So understanding where they are in the process, how long they want to be there, run a CMA on their house. And you can say, I can email this over, but it's helpful if I walk you through it. I don't mind doing it. Is it worth 10 minutes of your time? And what that does is it helps create value where value might have not entered the chat. And that's okay. If you're good with a forward conversation, hey, how are you? That's okay. That's perfectly fine. But if you ever want to switch it up, if you're talking to them 4 times a year, we got to think about variety, right? Of where are we going to bring the conversation? How are we going to protect the value? And how can I reestablish myself as their go-to resource when they have to do something on their house? How can I remind them that this is what I do? And I found that to be really helpful. Where have you guys used this kind of conversation in your DTD2? Has anyone ever tried the contractor conversation?
Yeah, I think that's a good one, just in terms of, well, I guess just to speak generally, right? Like the notion here is to become like enabled, right? And like powerful to actually want to do the activities, right? To actually want to go out and contact your people. And yeah, I forget exactly how you phrased it in the beginning, but just the notion of, the forward conversation and just checking in type of stuff. Like, listen, I'll take any level of activity as a, helping agents with their business, right? Like anything that you do, you really can't get hurt by it. But, the notion becomes just doing the same, just checking in, how's your life, how's the kids, how's the dog conversation over and over again throughout the year. You definitely run the risk of being awkward, right? And I think the bigger opportunity here for everybody to wrap their head around is the opportunity to become the resource. Like, yes, you can be the resource as a friend by just checking in, but the risk is that it doesn't connect you, in their minds as that affirmative real estate authority in their life. And that's ultimately what you want to be.
Well, that's a really interesting point, Jason. I found that just in my experience, even right down to recruiting of, hey, I feel like I was friend zoned. And it's because the context of the relationship is incredibly friendly, which is okay. But when we go to switch to business, for me, it feels awkward. And so for you as the person who's owning the nurture of the relationship, you own it, right? Like they show up to it, but you own it. And as the owner of that conversation is how do you keep from essentially friend zoning yourself or being too casual or too relaxed? Because the life cycle of what we sell is 7 to 10 years. And how do you stay relevant in their life beyond just Jody was really nice? How do you stay relevant in their life? How do you keep that conversation professional? And what you're doing is you're creating a gap. You're saying, I'm going to stand in this gap for you because I'm going to identify the fact that there is a gap. You might not have even known that there's a gap, that when you go to maintain and improve your property, you're going to want to know the value of the property so that you don't accidentally over improve or under improve. You created a gap. They weren't thinking about it. You own the conversation, and now you can help them get to the other side of that gap with the information that you have and reinforcing that I have this information. So when you find yourself in the gap again, let me be your first call. And that's how we establish value outside of just a friendly, comfortable relationship. Now,
and you're also serving as their advisor at that point, right? And especially when it comes to, their asset that is their home or their investment properties. These are, major, line items, so to speak, not to treat it that way, right? But like, somebody's overall net worth, their wealth, their their life, like this is a significant portion of it. And if you become the advisor to it, even when they don't need it necessarily, right? Or they're not directly searching for it, and you're just, chiming in with
Yeah.
intentionally helpful, but it doesn't need to be relevant to them in the moment. I think that's what everybody has to understand. Like, it's not playing the game where it's like, I got to go be super relevant to exactly what is going on in their lives and try to, use the DTD2 method to, which I put in the chat box, by the way. But to use that to like help that determine the timing of like, they need me right now. They're going to need a contractor. I know it. Here I come with my Superman cape on and saving the day. It's just food that or thought that counts, goes a long way.
It
Chelsea?
really does. Yeah.
Well, this is Lisa. I think an important point that you did that we should think about also is that you didn't start out by being their advisor. You started out by asking them to be yours. And I think that that's a very important thing. And it was a way to engage them and catch them, like, hey, I need something from you. I consider you to be an expert that is going to help me and others, kind of thing. Is better than just coming at it like, oh, let me tell you everything I know, right? So
Yeah, that's a really good point. When we're told, show your value, be a resource, be an advocate, be the trusted partner in this, there is an impulse to data dump, right? Hey, let me call you and tell you everything about the market, blah, 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 blah. Instead of, hey, I'm calling you because I trust your judgment. I trust who you would pick.
Right.
And pulling them in and then offering them something of value. There is a psychological play there, and it's not like a dark psychology thing, but it is a thing. When you give and take and you share and share alike, it can really strengthen the relationship.
Inherently, people do want to be helpful too. That's where that Phil Jones thing comes in. One other thing I wanted to say is that I also do DT/D2, and I'm fairly decent, I think, at the Ford conversations and flipping those into real estate conversations. I have a saying that I like to say on a regular basis that switches the conversation from something personal into real estate. I like this concept as well because a lot of times when I'm having those Ford conversations 4 times a year, and maybe even more than that, because these are people that I see on a regular basis. So I'm not just picking up the phone and calling them 4 times a year. I'm actually interacting with them on a regular basis. And we've talked about this on the call, so I don't mind being vulnerable with my 16 of my closest friends here. But I have a hard time differentiating clients from friends because I'm in the business of building relationships. So I am forever calling people and asking them how they're doing. I automatically feel like we're friends. So when I get those people who a friend who want to consider me as a resource, but I'm trying to be in the friend zone, this would be a perfect conversation to have with them to take it back to, oh, okay, I see where we're at. Let's go that route instead of being shut down, because I'm taken off guard. I'm like, wait, what? I thought we were friends.
Yeah.
But this would be a great way to just pivot and move on to something different.
It's a comfortable conversation. And then what you would do from there.
Very nicely.
Yeah, it's again, it depends on who you're calling too. If you are calling a high D for a Ford conversation in the middle of the day, maybe it coming from value of, hey, I just need 1 minute of your time. I know you're very busy. I just had a question for you because I trust you. It flows differently. I would prefer to receive a conversation like that because my brain is usually scanning for if we're not really good friends of like, where is this conversation going? And not in a bad way, not in a you're wasting my time way, but in a I'm not even fully checked into the conversation because my brain is scanning for what do you want? What do you need? Where is this going? Why are we chatting? I don't like being underprepared. What is going on here? So it just depends on who you're calling, right? And then the second half of this is when you get the contractor's name You're going to stay focused on your DTD2. You're going to write the contractor's name and the person who referred you. Contractor's name, person who referred you. Update your notes in your CRM so that you are breadcrumbing yourself in the future. You might have amnesia. I have amnesia. So remind yourself, your future you will thank you. So then you're going to write down all of the contractors at the end of your lead gen session. When you've got a little extra time, you're going to call those contractors and you're going to call and say, hey, Mr. Plumber, a mutual friend, Jody Byer, recommended that I reach out to you and get to know you as a professional contact. She said that you provided a service for her recently and said that you did a really great job. Do you have a couple of minutes for me to ask you questions to see if our businesses align? And then have some questions ready. Where do you service? How many clients, how long have you been in business? You know, see, outside of plumbing, what other business ventures do you have? Oh, you invest in real estate? Oh, you're interested in investing in real estate? Oh, I bet you're in a lot of homes for people who might be in sticky situations that might need an out. Who's your first call when that happens? So have your list of questions to ask Mr. Plumber and Mr. Contractor and Mrs. Carpenter to see where the intersection between what you do and what they do might be, because it's beyond just, I'm going to send you referrals. It's how can we create a relationship where we're exchanging referrals together? And then you're going to put them on your DTD2. And if you could schedule a coffee with them or a lunch with them, bonus points. But that's when you structure the spiderweb effect. It's going to start with one call, and that one call is most likely going to turn into a name. Whether that's a referral or a contractor, it's a name. And I'm going to introduce myself to that person. And now I'm owning that relationship, and I'm going to bring them closer to me over the years through DTD2. And that's how you expand and grow. That's the move. That's the secret sauce. And then at the end, put out your contractors list to your people.
I would argue there's arguably no more powerful conversation or effective conversation than you can have than one with another business owner, right? Where you're collaborating to, see how you can help each other in the same pursuit of success. Right. And collaborating within the community and that becomes a powerful relationship that can lead to leads.
I have a question about, I question back and forth about whether to release your contractors list or to just keep it and have people call.
Up to you.
I think it's better to let them call you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can. You're going to want to do something to signal that the list is ready. Hey, I know I called you. If maybe put it in your newsletter. I've been working really diligently this quarter to create a contractors list that I've personally vetted, every single contractor one by one. But don't forget, you've got to teach, reteach, reteach, reteach. So you're going to tell them once that you've got this incredible, impeccable, handcrafted contractors list. You're going to tell them one time and they are going to forget. So you're going to have to tell them again. So what is the vehicle of communication that you're going to use to remind them that you are the resource for contractors? Where is that going to live? Is it on your social media once a quarter? Is it in your newsletter once a quarter? Is it you're going to text them with? So think about how can you package this into, okay, now I've got this great list. How am I going to use this list as a reason to talk to people and have them contact me? So however you want to structure it is completely up to you.
Can you just recap really, really quick? Like I love the role play, but I wasn't able to write that fast. So I trust you. Who have you used in the past? Is it okay with you if I call them and introduce myself and let them know you sent me? Are you planning any other projects that I can make recommendations for?
Not really even projects. I'll just ask them, is there any, with what your life has going on, is there any contractors or any service people that you're looking for? Could be anyone from a CPA to, a plumber, because you want to keep the conversation open. They're like, actually, we really want a hot tub. Oh, that's a fun
But what
upgrade.
if they say something like, I'm really looking for a dog walker, which has nothing to do with real estate. And then you can't say, well, I don't know if it's for you or not, but how about I do a CMA on your house so you can afford a babysitter? So,
if someone says that, if they're like, oh, I really need a dog walker. Well, when you bought a house, I didn't know you had a dog. What kind of dog do you have? Oh, probably needs a big yard. It's just,
okay.
how can you riff on that? And sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's like, oh, you You need
That
a
ends the combo.
you need a priest. I don't know. You need a therapist. Okay, cool.
So somehow try to get back to CMA so you don't accidentally over improve. And then what was the last question? How did you tie it up with a bow?
If wrapping up that conversation, it's usually like, I thank you for your time. The next time you go to make an improvement on the house or maintain the house, make me your first call because I've got so many great suggestions and recommend. I mean, I've got a discount furnace guy personally. He's great. I use him on my stuff, whatever. And when I find that people paid like full retail for their HVAC, especially when they're getting ready to list their house, I'm like, I have failed. I'm like, I have failed because they shouldn't have had to pay full retail because this gentleman does a great job at 75 cents on the dollar.
Okay, so that's how you finish it up, saying, well, because
Totally.
I'm making these phone calls and I'm building
Yep.
such a great list, I've always got someone, so no matter what project it is that you've got, I've
Yep.
got someone for you, so make me your first call.
Yeah, or even if you want someone to look at a bid with you. I've had people call and say, is $30,000 a fair price for a roof for a 1,400 square foot ranch in the suburbs? No, no,
Yikes.
it's not. No. How long do you going to live there? Well, probably going to be here for 3 years. Absolutely no. Absolutely. I've heard everything I need to hear. Immediately no. So how many times have you sat with a seller and they're like, well, we just did this and we just did this and we just put $5 million into this house, and you're thinking, but why though? What'd you do that for? What did you do that for? And if I could save people over investing or under investing, oh, we're going to DIY a kitchen remodel. Should you? Really?
Can I just add something to that because I've actually done this and I have I spent about 8 months creating a vendor list.
Mm-hmm.
I would say when you call the vendor also, I always say I'm trying to build a reciprocal relationship with other vendors. So if you know of anyone looking to buy or sell, could you think of me first as well? Instead of just saying, hey, I'm going to add you to my vendor list. Like I expect something from you in return if I'm going to be referring business to you.
That's exactly right. And a really good point. And this is a lesson I had to learn the hard way. I thought everyone understood reciprocal professional relationships. Just do business with family and they'll prove you wrong immediately. I digress. So yeah, to let them know that. And I will even ask them, hey, if somebody in your world needed real estate advice today, who's in your phone that you would recommend? And they might say, well, nobody. Okay, great. What would you have to hear from me to know 10 toes down that I'm the right recommendation for the people in your world? How can I educate you on what I do in my business so that you know you're not just referring me because I asked you to, you're referring me because I'm high quality and I know what I'm doing here. So engaging them in conversation. I was taught at the beginning of my career to look at people in a certain way and not in a weird way, but to look when you're looking at the intersection of what I do and what I can offer you and what you do and what you can offer me. When you look at people and say, okay, I'm going to assume we're either going to be in business together or do business together. And it's up to me to find where that intersection is between what could that be? Am I going to help you build a real estate portfolio? Are we going to build a side hustle? Am I going to be your top referrer? You're going to be my top referrer. So we're either going to be in business together or we're going to do business together. So looking at opportunities or people through that lens can be helpful for me to really tease out that thread of what could we do together that we couldn't have done solo. It's just an interesting thought. Yeah.
I was just thinking about the HVAC guy, and that would be a good call for before everybody turns their heat back on. Is just call and say, hey, do you have somebody that you normally call and get your furnace checked every year because it's really important. I've got a name of a guy or whatever.
Yeah. In fact,
think?
I do that in in September. I'll call as part of my DTD2 with my past clients and say, hey, I've taken care of, and I've got a guy who will do this, the clean and check. I've taken care of 15% of the bill for you. Really, just give me 15% off. But it's all the way you word it. I have taken care of it. I've negotiated on their behalf to pay a little less to make sure that their system is clean. So, hey Jody, thanks so much for taking my call. I know it's September and we don't want to think about turning on the heat, but I know that this is something to keep your home healthy and safe. You're going to want to have it cleaned and checked before you turn your heat on. Do you have someone who usually does it for you? Oh yeah, or no, blah blah blah. Well, hey, ABC HVAC, I've taken care of 15% of the bill should you want it clean, checked, and inspected before you go ahead and turn it on. When we hang up, I'm going to text you their contact information. If you decide to use them, let me know. I'd love to know how your service goes. Sound good? And it's just a way to stay connected. All right. It's 9 a.m. Thank you guys for your attention. I hope it helps. And next week, we are talking about wealth determiners. This is a fun one. So be there. Have a good week.
Thanks, Chelsea.
Bye.
Right.